Hello and welcome back to Creative Pet Gaping. My name is Kasha and this is my fish room. This is going to be the 2019 winter fish room tour with super secret fish over here. So why don't we get started with the shrimp tank? So this is not my shrimp tank. This is actually Daniel's shrimp tank. This was originally my 5-gallon rimless, but now it's not mine anymore. He takes care of it and raises his shrimp. If you would like to see more about his shrimp, I do have a pretty awesome video where you can see them really up close and get to really enjoy how awesome they are. For those of you that have been following all the updates in my fish room, I did have this standing up and I flipped it because I do want to get maybe 2 more small tanks in here that are about the same size as this, so Daniel can have more shrimp tanks and breed more shrimps, which should be pretty exciting. Moving on from the shrimp, this is where I guess my fish room starts, next to the beautiful scenery of winter over here. I've got my brine shrimp hatchery on my heater, and over here I've got my lemon tree, some more plants. It's getting dark really quickly. It's about 4 o'clock right now and it's already getting dark. But here is my bed breeding setup. So that's where I'm going to be breeding the 2019 spawn. I've been working on making this tank as cool as I could. And down here I have my Neolamprologus multifasciatus. These are my multis. I've got a couple fun videos on them and we'll be probably doing an update soon. Currently they don't have a light on their tank because they don't really have any plants in here, but since this tank up here has it's a bare bottom tank, it has no gravel, the light bleeds to the bottom. So in a weird way, I'm using one light to kind of light 2 tanks, and that seems to work out for me just fine. Over here, we have the largest tank in the fish room, my ginormous 55, and I know for a lot of people 55 is not a big tank, but for me it is. And it is currently a grow out tank for a cool little species called Placidochromis, and they're from the Jalo Reef, so they're the Placidochromis Jalo. And these guys are juveniles that I got from one of the members of my local club. I'm growing out this spawn for him, and then once they get bigger, I'll keep a male with a couple females, and then the rest will kind of get distributed amongst my club. They're starting to color up a little bit, but predominantly they're still pretty kind of boring and gray, unfortunately, but they're really cool. I usually give this tank some cucumber, which is why there's a random chopstick over here. I'll skewer the cucumber with a chopstick and I'll kind of weigh it down, and I have to give them another one, so that's why there's a random chopstick here. I also have some Juliachromis in here, 2 extra ones, because once my pair paired up, they didn't want these guys around in the spawning tank, so they're hanging out in here. I also have some albino bristlenose long-finned plecos. These are the adults that I'm not breeding. They're kind of my backup adults that I keep in here. Oh my gosh, they're just following me. Are you gonna follow me? Oh, you guys are so cute. You guys are adorable. You think I'm gonna feed you, but I already fed you earlier. And then we're gonna go down. Are you gonna follow me down? And then are you gonna go up? Are you gonna go up? Do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh my gosh, okay. I can't get distracted. Gotta get to the next tank, but that's kind of what's been going on in here. I haven't been updating you guys on this tank particularly because it's not really aquascaped. It's a boring grow out tank, but I love it. These guys are gonna turn gorgeous when they grow up, so it's worth the wait to wait for these guys to grow up and blossom. Down here is the Lamprologus ocellatus gold tank. So I have my breeding group in here. They have spawned before, but the guppies that were in here that were serving the purpose of being dither fish were eating the babies. So right now the guppies are in guppy jail, but they're going to be moved somewhere else. So that's why there's a random breeding container floating around in here. This is the tank I recently kind of been working on. I've been trying to get rid of all the duckweed in here because it's a little too much, and I also removed one of the filters. There used to be 2 filters running on here, but I thought that was overkill, so I only have 1. And then I have pothos plants growing out of there. So I have a couple videos on the Lamprologus ocellatus gold. They're really fun, but I'll definitely do a species spotlight in the future on these guys as well. Over here, this is my breeding tank, which is a 20-gallon tall, which I actually rotate species in. because I am part of the Greater Chicago Cichlid Association, which has a breeding program where you breed different species and they earn you points in the club. And my goal is to get the Beginner Breeder Award for breeding 10 different species. And after that, I would like to take on a CARES species. So CARES fish are either vulnerable, endangered, or extinct in the wild. And the program is helping hobbyists take on these fish and breed them and hold on to them until their habitat is possibly ready for them to be introduced back into the wild. So it's a very cool species preservation program. So besides local aquariums and zoos, fish keepers can also help out. So this is kind of the breeding rotating tank. Currently in here we have Herotilapia multispinosa. They go by a different name, but no one seems to use that one, so I'm just sticking to that. They spawned already. I have a group of 8 in here, and there's like 3 different spawns. There's like a pair in here. They have babies here, babies here. They're all just freshly newly spawned, so we have wigglers. So I actually took out some wigglers, and they're hanging out in here. So I'll have a cool video, and I'll show you up close footage of what they look like in their little species spotlight. I'm just waiting to kind of watch them grow. So, oh, this guy's doing this wiggle. Do you see the little wiggle shake? This one's doing the spawn with me wiggle shake. Wiggle, 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 yeah. Then over here, we've got the grow outs as well as spawn tanks. Up here are my for fun kind of attempt at aquascaping fun tanks, and then some more tanks up here. So I guess we'll start from the top. Here we have the wild betta mahachai setup. We have a lot of babies growing in here, and there's the female right there. So I will be making an update video. I already got a couple videos on the betta mahachai, so if you want to look at a couple of them and kind of see these fish a bit more, you can check those out. This is one of the previous fish I spawned. This is Hemichromis lili, and this male murdered his female. They had their spawn, and he wanted to spawn again, and she wasn't ready to spawn, so overnight he kind of murdered her, which kind of happens with cichlids. You try to avoid it, you know, if you see any aggression, you separate fish, but sometimes when you're not there, for example at night, it's, you know, out of my control. So he's in here temporarily. He's got some guppy friends up there. He's not gonna live in here because he's not very happy. As you can see, he's showing a lot of glass surfing and stereotypical behaviors, which is an indicator that he's not happy. So he's definitely going to need to be sold and to go to a new home, probably at the next local Greater Chicago Cichlid Association fish swap, also known as the GCCA fish swaps. That's the plan for him. So over here we have the albino galaxy guppies. They were bred by Kang Lee from Twin City Guppies. I have some babies and I'm growing them out. This is also the shrimp cull tank, so any of the orange shrimp that are not perfect but still quite nice, they get to go in here. So the nicer ones are in the 5-gallon, and then these are the still nice ones but not as nice, so they just get to live their lives in here. So they're just kind of floating around, living their best life. I also have a albino bristlenose pleco in here somewhere. I am trying to grow some algae on the walls because I know that the shrimp really like grazing on it and just hanging out on there. Over here is Sunny's tank. So Sunny is a veil-tail pet betta that I won. Well, I didn't won. Daniel won him at the Aquatic Experience in 2017. So he's living in here. He's very active. He's the most active betta I've ever had. So even though there's a filter on here that does create some sort of current, he doesn't seem to be fazed by it at all. We also have some endlers in here, some male endlers. I've been keeping the females separate. And then I have Bloody Mary shrimp in here, but they're always hiding in the plants and the driftwood, so you can't really see them all the time. Down here are my 10 gallons and then 2 5-gallons. So right here we've got some Lamprologus tigropictilis. They're the ones that are really down there, and I'll do a species spotlight on them soon, but they're still juveniles growing out, so there's this is kind of the grow out tank. Then over here we have the Julidochromis regani, and this is Big Mama right here with her baby. So she's been spawning for me, which is really awesome. The male kind of likes to hang out in the back, and the female has a cave within a cave within a cave. They're very reclusive spawners. If you can see them spawn, then they probably won't. So I had to like make a crazy cave system for her, but now that she has it. She's been comfortable and she's been breeding a lot. So I have a lot of babies to distribute among my local clubs. So I'm pretty happy about that. Over here is actually a grow out tank for some of the Apistogramma cacatoides double reds. So we have a bunch of females. I also have some endlers in here, and then some long-finned bristlenose plecos are hanging out down there. So this is kind of like a jungle grow out tank for just a lot of interesting baby fish. Over here we've got more baby fish. These are the Apistogramma borellii yellow, also known as the umbrella cichlids. I have just babies in here growing out. They're really tiny, but they're doing pretty well. And then over here I got more babies. These are the Nanicara anomala, also known as the golden eye cichlid, and they're kind of hanging out right here in the front. I also have some baby plecos as well as some trumpet snails. Well, there's trumpet snails in like every tank, but the smallest baby plecos are growing out in here, like the super baby ones. And once they get a little bigger, they get moved to the 10-gallon. And then over here I have a breeder box with some blue star endlers. Oh, over here is my 20-gallon long, where I have the Apistogramma cacatoides male with his girlfriends. I also have the bristlenose pleco. He's hanging out right here. I think he has babies because he's been guarding the cave, as well as his two girlfriends. So this is kind of the pleco breeding scenario over here. We also have a lot of female endlers and a few male endlers. And then oddly enough, there is a baby mahachai in here, the oldest one that's been growing out. He seems to be doing really well because there's a ton of hiding places in here and there's tannins, and he seems to like that quite a bit. You could see the male cacatoides, who's really gorgeous. He's right there. He's amazing. I have a couple videos on him, so if you want to get a up-close look at this tank and some of the fish that are in here, I've got some videos that you might enjoy. And then up here, let's take a closer look. Let me stand up into the betta divided tank. Now I have some plants uprooted because I want to kind of work on this tank and redo some stuff. So I've been moving things around and it's not done, but I wanted to film this anyway. So this is a 20-gallon long that is divided into 5 compartments. I did get a new betta right here that just finished quarantine. So he is hanging out here. He might be a pet betta. I don't think I'm going to breed him, but he's quite nice. And then over here we have the cellophane female from the first spawn. I actually think I'm going to name her. I'm kind of leaning towards Elsa because if you take a closer look, if you'll focus, she's really beautiful cellophane female with blue iridescent. So I'm thinking about naming her Elsa. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. And then we have Raspberry. So this is the male that I'm considering breeding. He is a marble that does also have some iridescent, and he marbled to a full red. So he's kind of hanging out over there. I do have a video of him where I first got him, so you can actually see his koi pattern before he marbled, if that's something you are interested in. This here is my koi male. I guess you could call him a panda koi from the 2018 spawn. As you can see, he has that chin problem, which looks very similar to Sunny's. It's in the same location, but his is different because it's got like white pussy stuff inside. So for now, he should be okay. Right here's his sister, and she is a really cute, small koi female. She's a marble as well. She's a plaquette, and she's super adorable. And she, on the other hand, is not exhibiting any problems and is doing really, really well. I want to name him and the female, and I know you guys left some name suggestions, so I'll try to pick something, and then maybe we can vote on what we should name these two little cuties. Up here, we have Big Daddy Samurai, who is in his hospital tank. He's been having health issue after health issue, and after throwing all sorts of medications at him, I think I finally got it under control. So he's finally getting better, even though he looks like a zombie fish. But he is in a very simple quarantine tank because it's very easy to regularly clean. He gets water changes every day, and that's been helping him a lot. Over here is a super secret fish in quarantine, so I got another super secret fish, and my microworm cultures, as well as a lot of junk over here. So that's kind of what this looks like. I do hope that I could set up a different rack over here. So I want to build something so I could have 3 tanks up here instead of 2. And I'm not going to be getting new tanks. I want to actually move the multi-tank as well as this breeding tank over here, so it would be 3 tanks, and then the other tanks would be here because this opens a little more. Maybe the tanks would be right here next to it, and then this would allow me to have the space to just keep more plants. I want to have more plants in that corner. I think it might be a little better to have a plant corner. I also have to be very careful with how many things I plug into my outlets, and I feel like there's a lot plugged into this side. So I'd rather move these over and then, you know, not have too many electrical things plugged in. So this is my update of my fish room. I guess I'll pan again so you can see everything. It got dark super fast, but it's really pretty and wintry outside. I do have a clip of how it looked a little earlier, so I'll probably insert that. Check this out. It's so beautiful outside. The snow is stuck on the branches, even though my view is a parking lot. It's golden hour. I love it. But that's kind of what my fish room looks like, where I work. This is where all the shrimp stuff is gonna be, and my little unicorn slippers. And funny story, this panda rug is how people recognize my fish room, and it's kind of becoming the famous panda rug that I got in Target a long time ago. So that's a fun random thing for the end. So I hope that you enjoyed this fish room tour. Keep in mind that I do have a fish room tour playlist, so you can check out other fish room tours of fish keepers I visited, or you can see how this fish room changed over time and progressed over the 2 years I've been living here, as well as my previous apartment, in case you're curious to take a look at how you can have a fish room in an apartment, because this is how I've been making it work. So I hope that you have an awesome day and that you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video.